Hey, what's up, y'all? Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. Well, windy day today. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Look, let me just start this one out with, I've talked about it numerous times. I came up with this thought a while ago, and I think about it every time I look at my animals because I'm going to have to deal with this very issue. Don't worry, I think I can make it all make sense. If you have a sheep that's constantly jumping over your fence, what do you do with that sheep? Well, you're going to put them in a freezer. Why? Because you can't have it influencing the other sheep, okay? If you have a bull out there that wants to run you over, where is he going to go? Yep, you guessed it, right there in the freezer. How about a rooster out there that gets violent every single time you come around? Well, you certainly don't want to breed him. You're going to put him in the freezer along with all the others. I think you get the point there. So if, as a permaculture farmer, I don't put up with bad behavior in animals, why on earth would I ever consider putting up with it in what should be high-functioning people? So that brings me to what I'm going to talk about today. Folks, believe it or not, I think I got the cure for your holiday stress. How about that? Maybe stop showing up for people that drain you. Every year, right about now, well, actually before now, people start losing their minds. And you can feel it in the air, just like it's, static electricity made of peppermint lattes and bad decisions. Folks are more stressed, I think, in this time of year than they are during tax season, the holiday seasons, more than they are during tax season, hurricane season, even election season. And that's really saying something. And I've always noticed it for years and years. Now, just as full disclosure, Michelle and I, really none of our family really celebrate what everybody calls holidays. We just kind of do our own thing. Truth is, I only really celebrate Thanksgiving and maybe 4th of July. But let's be real here. Most of the stress ain't coming from the holidays themselves. It's coming from the expectations, I think, that we let other people put on us. And I'm convinced that the single biggest gifts I think you can give yourself this year, and maybe the ones after it, is the words no. Not gift wrapped, not with a bow, just nice, simple, boundary-shaped no. And then naturally people are going to say, but it's the holidays, we have to. Says who? The same people that convinced you that fluoride was good for you, or that maybe Black Eye Friday is a national holiday? Listen, somewhere along the line, we let Walmart and Hallmark convince us that we got to buy something made in China, wrapped in plastic, and delivered in debt. And if we don't somehow care for our family or the people that we love. Well, in my view, and I've thought this for the longest time, that's not love, it's marketing. And I think most of us have been falling for it ever since we were in diapers. I know I certainly was for a time, but maybe we should talk about the real problem. It ain't the lights, it's not the cooking, it's not the weather, the decorating. When we get down to brass tacks here, and I know a lot of people are not going to like what I got to say here, it's the people. You probably got people in your life right now who, A, only call when they need something, or maybe you're that person. They only show up to criticize. They want you to play host, pay for everything, do all the cooking, the meal, listen to them, and then when it's all said and done, you're going to have to listen to them when they complain about how you did it all wrong. I actually got family that way. I don't mean to sound preachy, but half of us are putting yourselves in debt at a time where money's tighter than it's ever been in my life to feed people who don't even have the courtesy or the thankfulness to pray over the meal that somebody else provided, meaning you. I'm just saying, maybe peace on earth starts with peace in your own home, in your living room. And if that means leaving a few tables or rather chairs empty this year, then so be it. And don't even get me started on spending money. People go broke so they can buy stuff for kids who, A, don't even bother playing outside, can't even be bothered to say thank you, and will almost certainly forget anything about what you bought by the time, a week later when New Year's shows up. I never understood, why would you pay interest on a toy that's probably going to be broken or forgotten about by January 2nd? And you know who never gets anything? The person who did all the cooking, all the cleaning, worked overtime, wrapped the gifts, refereed family squabbles, and then tried to do it all with a smile on their face. And then what do they get for all the trouble? They get a candle from the dollar store with maybe the scent on it, maybe a scent that I don't know if they sell this scent, but they should. It should be called Holiday Regret. What if this year looked a little bit different? What if instead of debt, guilt, tension, what if instead of those things you chose rest over running around? Maybe peace over presence, or maybe presence over presence. Real joy over forced cheer with a bunch of people that maybe you don't want to be around. People that only create stress. And folks, that's where I'm at in my life. If you cause me stress, under no circumstance will I find myself under the same roof with you if I can possibly help it. And if I am there, I will be there a short while. Maybe a smaller circle, and as a result, a healthier heart. What if instead of buying gifts for people that don't need them or want them, you invest your time in maybe straightening out your pantry? I think that's a better use of your time, or maybe growing better soil, or your animals, your family's actual future. Maybe the best gift you can give anybody, and I'm kind of half joking here, but it occurred to me, instead of filling Uncle Joe's stocking with coal, maybe you fill it up with some BioComplete compost. How about that one? Maybe here's the challenge this year. If the thought of being around certain people makes you tense already, and you have to mentally rehearse for these conversations, or maybe get drunk before you get there, maybe instead you spend more time praying for patience than giving thanks. Then maybe that's a sign that you don't need to go, or they don't need to be around you. In other words, you're allowed to say, I think, hey, you know what, y'all, we're staying home this year. We're doing something small and peaceful. We're giving experiences, not stuff this year. We're not going into debt for tradition. You're not being selfish, in my view. I think you're being sane. Because let me break this down, y'all. Here's the truth that nobody ever says out loud. The holidays, I don't think, were ever meant to be a performance. I think they were meant to be a pause and peaceful. Time to rest, maybe time to reflect. Thank God. Be grateful for what you have already. Because I don't think most of us are, myself included sometimes. And not frantically chase all the things that we don't have. And if the people around you can't handle that, then maybe you finally understood the real reason for Thanksgiving. Sometimes, and folks, I really believe this, I think the most cathartic thing you can do for yourself isn't dealing with a crowd that already stresses you out, whether it's family or not. Being family doesn't make them necessarily good for you, you dig? It's getting some peace and maybe some distance from those people. So maybe here's the takeaway. Don't go broke to prove love. Don't destroy peace so someone else can pretend everything's okay. Don't spend time with people maybe don't spend time with people that wouldn't voluntarily visit you in March. And maybe don't force joy. It seems to me like everything else in nature, it grows best when it grows organic. So let the world keep chasing chaos. I know I'm definitely working on doing that very thing. Maybe you build a life that you don't need a holiday to escape from. I think that's a pretty good start. And if the only gift you give yourself this year is not being miserable, if what I said makes sense to you, then congratulations. Maybe you finally understood the real meaning of Thanksgiving. All right, y'all. Hopefully that was a blessing to you. And if you're looking for another blessing that you can give yourself during this holiday, maybe look into the Sovereign Health Summit. You can get 5% off, and yeah, that's all we can offer. There's not going to be any Black Friday. Look, it's as low as we can possibly make it. And it's already pretty darn low to begin with all that you'll be getting out of it. Check out the Sovereign Health Summit and get yourself 5% off with promo code Perma. All right, y'all. Hopefully that was a blessing to you. We'll see you next week.